Hello and welcome to Jesus for Asia Now. I'm Natalie Wood and my husband John is here with me today, and we get to talk about how to reach an entire country. Hello, love.
Hi, darling. How are you today?
I'm doing great.
You're looking good. Sorry. You're looking good. I like your outfit.
Oh, thank you. This is a gift from our friends that we're going to share about their project today.
Oh, and this shirt is a gift from that country also.
Yes. So what project are we talking about today?
Well, honey, this project is one of the most impactful projects that we have.
Wow.
It is, well, instead of telling you about it, I have a little video that I want to show you. And this kind of introduces you to the country, to the scope of the project, and to the solution to reaching that many people.
Okay. Wow. 264 million people.
Yes, 17,508 islands.
Wow. Are all of those inhabited?
Not all of them. About 6,000 islands are inhabited.
That's still a lot. 6,000 is still a lot of islands.
Oh yeah, it's a huge number. And they're spread from the east to the west is bigger. They're spread out in a bigger area than the entire United States. It's about 3,000 miles from one end to the other, and the United States is about 2,500. So it's a huge territory.
Yeah.
And it's a little confusing because the islands are, I mean, the country is made up of all these islands. It's not like a continent like Australia or, India, where you've got a single landmass. This is 17,000 land masses, and it kind of blends into the Philippines and kind of blends into Malaysia, and it kind of blends into the Solomon Islands, New Guinea, Australia. That whole area is kind of like this mix, and it's hard to get a grasp of what it is. So we've got the picture, the video outlines the country of Indonesia.
All right, so we've got that picture up now.
Yeah, you can see, like, for instance, one of the center island kind of in the upper part in the center, that's Borneo.
Okay.
And you can see that the country doesn't go, or the yellow line doesn't go around the entire island.
Uh-huh.
The north side of that island is actually part of Malaysia, which is on the peninsula over to the left, and also it has a couple other countries in there as well.
Wow.
So it's confusing. You can see, of course, up to the upper top in the center, you've got a little bit to the right of center, that's the Philippines.
Right.
So you can see how it all blends together, and then the continent in the bottom right, you can see that's Australia, the northern part of Australia. Right. And then on the far right of Indonesia, you can see it's like the island's cut in half.
Right.
The eastern part of that is Papua New Guinea.
Right.
Okay, so the island is Papua, but the eastern side is like New Guinea. So it's kind of hard to grasp what Indonesia is, but it's this huge conglomerate of 17,000 islands.
Wow. Wow. And there's a lot of variety. I mean, with that much diversity in landmass, there's got to be a lot of variety.
Huge amount of variety. Variety in just the topography. Some beautiful stuff like this terraced rice fields. I got to go and visit some of these rice fields and just blown away with the beauty that's there, and very agrarian way of life. They still plant by hand, they still harvest by hand, maintain it by hand, build those terraces by hand. But with all those different islands, you can imagine there's a lot of different tribes, a lot of different cultures, and there's not obviously highways to every
Right.
inhabited island because it's all water.
Right.
This is just a standard shot when you're driving down the road. It's beautiful, green, luxurious forest around with these cities here and there as you drive. And there's a lot of, with 264 million people, it's a very inhabited, one of the most densely inhabited countries in the world, especially the central island of Java, where Jakarta, the main city, is. Yeah,
okay.
Very densely
I think
populated.
we've got a picture of Jakarta.
Yes, coming
also
up later.
Okay.
But you can see with this tribal lady and her son, you've got the modern, chic, Western style downtown family, and then you've got the people that live in the jungle. Mm-hmm. You've got people that are still with the old traditions, the old tribal ways and stuff like that. So you've got a large variety of people.
Yeah.
The common language is Bahasa.
Okay.
Not only is Bahasa spoken in Indonesia, it's the national language there, but it's also spoken in Malaysia.
Right, and there's many Bahasa speaking people in other countries around the world.
Sure. So just in the satellite footprint, it covers all of Indonesia and Malaysia. So you're talking almost 300 million people, almost the entire population of the United States is covered by this one satellite.
Wow.
But with all these islands, you've got a huge amount of distance between churches, you can imagine.
Right, and I'm sure there's a lot of unreached areas where there aren't even churches.
No church, no missionary, no believer, no witness.
Wow.
And so for them to learn about the gospel takes a huge investment.
Right.
Somebody that's willing to go, somebody that finds out about a need that where it is, and then to sponsor them to go there and provide for their living expenses, transportation expenses, everything like that. But with the satellite, you're covering all of it all at the same time.
Right.
And so it's penetrating into areas that would normally also be closed to Christian outside influences.
Right. Nobody could go there as a Christian missionary.
And not really witness.
Right.
They could, but it's a risky endeavor.
Right.
And many people wouldn't listen to them just because they see who they are, see them walking, they'll close the door.
Right.
Now we have a project in Indonesia that they are training and sending out.
Literature evangelists.
Mm-hmm. And they're having great success.
Wow.
But you can imagine, even with 10 or 20 literature evangelists, how are you going to reach 6,000 islands? How long will that take?
Right. Right.
Well, in actuality, we find that we need both. We need the Air Force and the ground force.
Right.
And so when we work together, it's very impacting. This is what we're discovering in India, of course.
Right.
Now, it's easy to talk about, the numbers and the
big picture kind of,
yeah,
the whole country.
Yeah, all the islands, but it's important to also remember the individual.
Right.
The one person that's so important to Christ.
Right.
He would have come to this earth, suffered for 33 years and died on the cross for just one.
Right.
And so it's the one. Now, I first came to Indonesia back in 2007. And I have to tell you a little bit of that story.
Yeah, but first,
okay,
you were in somewhere very close to Indonesia that we just talked about already for the first 5 years of your life.
Yes.
You were in Papua New Guinea.
That's true.
And so then when you went there in 2007, what it felt like?
I felt like coming back home.
Yeah.
When I was 2 months old, my mom and dad took me to New Guinea, Sopus Hospital up in the highlands, where it was green. It rained every single day at 5 o'clock. It was just so beautiful and green, and that was home for me. Then we moved to California. I grew up the rest of my life in California, where it's dry all the time. And, I love California, but it's so different. So when I went back to Indonesia, it's like, whoa, this feels right. It rains every day. It's green. There's lots of water. And then I looked at the maps like, oh, yeah, it's the same as where I spent the first 5 years of my life.
Right.
But the people are very friendly. I just fell in love with the country.
Right. So you were going to share maybe a story from that trip with us?
Yeah. When I first got in, I flew in and got in about 11:30 at night. And I had to fill out the paperwork for the visa. And I came out midnight. Everybody was gone, except there's like 7 or 8 taxi drivers.
Wow.
And they're like, where do you want to go? Well, I had purposely not made any connections or made any plans of what I was going to do and where I was going to go when I got to Indonesia, because I wanted an adventure.
Okay.
I wanted to experience this kind of raw without planning. So I went there, and I'd learned one thing. I'd learned Jalan Jaksa,
Okay.
which is like the backpacker tourist street of Jakarta. So I told them I want to go to Jalan Jaksa. So they said it's going to be like about 50,000 rupiahs. I'm like, oh wait, that's like $7. So he took me down to Jalan Jaksa, and he took me, and he says, where do you want to stay? I'm like, I don't have anything planned. He says, okay, I'll take you to the best. And so he took me down this little street, and it was packed. So they didn't have any room. So the one right next to it was $4 for the night.
Wow.
And it was a bit of a dive. The fan was going clunk, 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 clunk all night. There's no air conditioning, and the fan went out halfway through the night. And so the next morning I moved to the best hotel, which was a big increase in price to $7.
Okay, well.
Fell in love with the place. Went from there, went all the way out to another city where they have an Adventist university. Met a friend or somebody there that took me around. I was videotaping, getting stock footage for a family that had lived for many years in that country, wanted stock footage so that they could start a ministry to serve that country. Anyway, so I spent 2 weeks there, traveled all around, had the most amazing experiences. The people are friendly, people are open, just loved it. This is Raymond. He's the director and founder of the TV satellite, along with his wife. And here he is praying with one of the viewers. And they had to drive like 6 or 7 hours just to meet this viewer. And he came to the knowledge of Jesus Christ through the satellite ministry.
Wow, praise the Lord.
Oh yeah, they're getting all these kinds of testimonies and witnesses in from all over the country. Many of them they haven't gone to visit because it's almost impossible to get there.
Right, they have to take, drive a ways and then take a boat or take a bus, or even some of them an airplane, and then a boat, or it's just a lot of travel.
Several days just to get there.
Right.
And then several days to get back.
Right. So how long has this satellite program been on the air?
Okay, so it started in the spring of 2011.
Okay.
So it's been on quite a number of years.
Right.
So we have a really good record of the impact that it's having across the whole nation. And this is one of the challenges that we have, because we're in a place, up until now, there's been a select number of donors that have been supporting the satellite. And the way the world economy has been shifted, they are no longer able to keep up. And so just in the last week or two, we've had reports that they might go off the air.
Right, because they were getting further and further behind on the payments.
Yeah. And
they hadn't been able to make payments for the last few months. And so the satellite company was like, give us money, get off the air, these are your choices.
Right.
So they were getting to the point where they were discouraged.
Right.
And they were asking the Lord, what do we do? They've seen fruit from this. They've seen lives changed from this. They've had so many reports of lives changed. And yet they were discouraged. They have no way to pay the bills. And yet...
Yeah, I've never seen...
Lord, are you done with this tool? That's kind of what they're asking. Lord, are you done with this tool? Has it done everything it can to reach all of Indonesia? Right.
And, I've rarely seen anyone go through as much opposition as they've gone through. Whenever you try to do satellite, we've found, and we've seen others as well, try to do media, that seems like Satan especially fights that.
Right.
And so they've gone through just tremendous... They used to live a very comfortable lifestyle.
Right, and some of our viewers may remember hearing their testimony. They've been on our show before.
Yes.
And so it's just, today we want to focus on the satellite itself, because it deserves to be, thought about.
Yeah.
The value and the possibility, the opportunity that we have here.
Right.
Needs to be shared.
Honestly, if that signal went off the air, not sure I could live with myself. Because now there are there are people, there are families, there are individuals, there's congregations out there that this is their church.
Right.
They don't have a pastor, they don't have a church, and so this is their church. This is the way they're spiritually fed. And if this goes off the satellite, off the air, then they're left high and dry.
Right.
And so there's no reason for this to go off the air.
Right.
It's a very inexpensive way to reach the entire country.
Right. I mean, we were calculating it. We broke it down by hour.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the simplest way. And by hour, it's $10 an hour.
Yeah. That
to cover the entire country.
Yeah, that includes the satellite signal and production costs.
Right.
$10 an hour to have a signal that covers almost 300 million people, 6,000 inhabited islands, 17 or 18,000 islands, including, Malaysia and Indonesia. I mean, plus the southern part of the Philippines. You got a lot of coverage out there.
Right.
A lot of bang for the buck. I mean, very few people even today are willing to work for $10 an hour.
Right. That's true.
And here you can reach, a huge amount of the world's population for $10 an hour.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. So it's like, we can't let this thing go. We can't let this thing go. Not only does it support people out there, I mean, I know some churches that have a bigger budget, monthly budget, than this satellite. And this satellite's reaching an entire, 300 million people.
Right.
Of course, it's not going to reach that many people because you need a satellite downlink in order to receive the signal.
Right. But there's that many people who it could reach.
Yeah.
If they have a downlink or if they have a receiving dish.
Or a friend.
Right.
Yeah. So the statistics are that there's 17 to 20 million households that have this dish. So you say in that country, an average of 5 people per household, you're talking 100 million people that could potentially, that's called a potential viewing audience.
Right. Right. And then what they're producing, they're also putting on a YouTube channel. So that is readily available to people. And so then it's not just who might watch by satellite, but it's also who's going to watch by YouTube later, but the satellite is so important, especially for those that don't have access to a church and don't have access to
internet.
Yeah, the internet. Exactly.
I mean, there's places out there that still don't get internet.
Right. And they have satellite, but they don't have internet.
Well, satellite is like a leapfrog technology.
Right.
The other thing is that they're doing these Zoom Bible studies in the evening. They got 200 to 300 people joining them online doing Bible studies, interactive Bible studies.
Wow.
And so this television, the satellite, is grown into all these, and there's other ministries that they do also, health ministries. They do bicycling ministries with the super rich in downtown Jakarta. I mean, it's just really developed, but this is the main thing. We can't let this go. We cannot let this go.
Right.
Here's some more shots of the country. You can imagine with 17,000 islands, there's going to be some beach shots. This isn't the most beautiful beach. They've got some amazing white sandy beaches in Indonesia. But you can see here, we're near, this is a drone shot off of one island. You can see they're going out into the open ocean. You can see way, way, way over the horizon, there's another hint of an island or two.
Yeah.
Okay. This is how far apart some of these islands are. It's like, that's not an easy drive to church in the morning.
No. It would take you all morning or more to get across that.
Yeah. This is a shot. Now we're just going through that video that we saw at the beginning. We're going to show that video again at the end. We're just going through shot by shot, just kind of like, because each shot that I put in there, it has meaning to me, and it represents something that is close.
Is important.
Yeah, exactly. So here's another little town. As a typical town, you can see the satellite dish in the bottom left corner. Okay, so there's one of our viewers right there. And that's a family there in a town out in the middle of nowhere.
Right.
Again, back to the individual, the people. That's what it's all about, the individual. It's great technology, but it's the individual that really matters.
Yeah. That's true.
Again, more beautiful, amazing scenery. My heart just soars when I see some of these shots. And here's the city of Jakarta. Huge number of people there.
Right.
You know, how do you knock on some of those high-rise doors?
You don't.
Gated community.
Yeah,
Exactly.
They have a doorman. They have codes, security codes. You can't get in.
But this is another secret of satellite. And our viewers, of course, watching us on possibly a satellite technology, they'll understand that this is a technology that, even though it's mass, is very personal, very one-on-one, very intimate.
Right.
And it can go behind closed doors, gated communities. It can go into the living room of somebody that's a seeker that wouldn't be caught dead talking to a Christian.
Right, right. Or let alone going to church.
Yeah.
No, that's not going to happen.
And so this is a powerful tool to come in and connect with people that are seekers, true seekers. One of the most amazing stories that I heard that Sandy and Raymond told when they were on the show here was this lady was a Buddhist, and she was asking Buddha, please show me the true God. I want to find the true God. Are you the true God? Or who's the true God? And she prayed this for many nights. And one night she had a dream. And in her dream, she saw an image of Buddha come to her and tell her, Jesus Christ is the true God.
Wow.
And she says, but that's the Christian's God. And Buddha says, yes, but he is the true God.
Wow.
And so she contacted our satellite. She found our satellite on her TV, and she learned about the Christian God through that satellite channel.
Wow. Yeah, that's such a blessing.
It's an amazing story. I mean, it doesn't fit into the normal, the normal mode of what you'd expect Christ to do, but he'll use any methods to meet people where they're at.
Right, and to bring them to truth.
Yes, exactly. Now, this is the family, Raymond and Sandy. They used to be quite wealthy, but very unhappy. Now, they're quite poor. They've been quite poor for quite a number of years, but they're happy. They have their family together. They have their happiness. Just a wonderful testimony.
They're serving God as a family.
Yeah.
And they found so much blessing there that it's great. They just beam.
Yeah. It wasn't long ago that we were at a youth conference with them, and they were the main speakers, and they gave breakout sessions.
Yeah.
So they preached like 5 hours a day for like 4 days straight. And at the end, they were going with as much power and strength and passion as they did when they started.
Because God was in it.
God is in it.
Because it's for God. Because it's from God.
Yeah.
And it's all wrapped up in God, giving them the strength to do that.
Yeah, and they and now they have all these testimonies of God coming through and working for them. So I know God is in that ministry. Yeah.
Well, let's watch that video again with maybe a little more awareness of what we're seeing.
Okay. Isn't that beautiful?
Yeah.
So inspiring.
Yeah. And what an opportunity we have, to share in a mass scale. We have to pray for there to be workers, for people that they can connect with, church members around them, and actual people that they can talk to, because that's so vital to our Christian experience and to our walk through this world, to connect with people, but to send the seeds and especially to places where there is no other witness.
Yeah, and that's the key with the satellite ministry, is that it's a seed planting ministry.
Right.
You see a little bit of return, but you're not going to see the return that you're going to see at the second coming.
Right.
We will never know who is impacted at what time in their lives by this kind of ministry until then. Right.
And so this is really an opportunity to store up treasure in heaven.
Yes.
Because we won't see the result. Absolutely. I mean, we'll hear stories like this lady that found the satellite because of Buddha telling her in a dream, but we won't see, 100,000 baptism, 100 baptisms even necessarily.
Right.
But God knows what's going on, and He's using those seeds to reach into every single life that watches this. And who knows when He brings things to mind that they've seen on it, what they even saw. Yeah. It might be some passing sentence, and He just uses it to reach them. What an opportunity.
Yeah, and we're going to get more of these testimonies as time goes by.
Right.
But it truly is a broadcast. When the sower goes out to sow, he doesn't put seeds here and there. He takes a handful in the Old Testament times, Bible times, and he would scatter it.
Right.
Some would fall on good ground, some on bad ground. But the main thing is that he would scatter.
Right. And even today, there's a lot of things that are planted that way. Wheat and corn are planted that way. Now in our personal gardens, we might plant things differently, but grass seed is just thrown, And so that picture of throwing out the seed and letting God be the one who grows the plant and brings in the harvest at the end is just, it's a beautiful picture.
Yes, but not only should we send our funds to broadcast the seed, but we really need to send our prayers to intercede, to open the pathway for the Holy Spirit to work with that seed that's planted, make sure that it gets watered.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. I would like to invite you to pray for this satellite program. There is so much opportunity. There are so many people that could watch and could learn about the beautiful love of Jesus. And we can see the treasure going ahead of us to heaven by faith. If you would like to sponsor this program, $10 an hour is an amazing price, and you think about how many people it might reach. You can contact us at Jesus for Asia, P.O. Box 1221, Collegedale, Tennessee 37315. Call us at 423-413-7321, or visit our website at jesusforasia.org. May God richly bless you until we see you next time on Jesus for Asia Now.